Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Anissa, and if you're new, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. Okay, let's get straight into this video. As you guys can see by the title of the video, I decided to do my labor story video. How long has it been since I've given birth? I had my daughter almost 3.5 months ago. I've had her almost 3 months ago, but I didn't want to do a video straight away when I had my baby. When you have a baby, you're still very emotional. To be honest, I don't know if all women go through that, but when I had my daughter, I was very emotional, a bit depressed, I was very down, I was crying a lot for the first 2 weeks. I just didn't feel that I was mentally stable to record a video and share my experience and do my labor story. The reason why I didn't want to do my video straight away, it was because it's I rather be mentally stable and less emotional, how I could tell my story and just tell my labor story properly, because everyone have different experience and everyone will go through different things when they give birth, and everyone's experience is not quite the same. Anyway, so I just wanted to be mentally stable and less emotional before I recorded this video. For me, it's quite personal and it's very important to me. If you're a new subscriber or if you've been subscribed from the beginning, one thing about me is, and one thing on my channel, I don't lie about anything. Everything you see is basically real. I will not do anything extra or be dramatic just to get views and all that. That's not me, okay? I don't have time for that, because if I want to do extra things and all that, I would have done that ages ago. Because on my other video that I did, a story time a couple months ago, years ago, a man punched me in my face, and then I had certain weird comments, people saying you're doing this for that. No, I like to be very transparent and just be real and just share my experience, what I've been through, and that's that, okay? I don't need to come here and share my labor story, my dramatic story, what I've been through, because I don't have to do that. But I just felt the need to do it, especially us black women. When we give birth, we go through a lot. I feel people don't talk about it very often. They just like to brush it off, act like, you know, oh, it's not a big deal, you're just going through postpartum depression and this and that. And you know what, that's actually not always the truth. Because at the end of the day, I feel like personally, if you have had a dramatic labor, from experience, I feel like you're most likely to go through a postpartum depression, because obviously you've had a very shocking and dramatic labor experience. But anyways, that being said, I just want to come in here, share my story and share my truth. A few weeks ago, I saw a post on Instagram, people talking about saying how there's going to be a documentary about black women and dying during labor. And apparently, I'm not too sure, correct me if I'm wrong, in the UK 5% of black women are most likely to die during labor. So when I saw that, I was a bit shocked. I was thinking, oh my god, that is fucked up. Because I don't know, but anyways, I don't know, I feel like when I talk about my experience, I still tend to get very emotional about it, because it just wasn't easy. But anyway, when I saw that, I was like, because I was planning on coming on here anyway, telling my story, do a story time about it. But when I saw that, I was like, do you know what, let me just come in here and just share my story. Maybe that can help someone. I'm not saying all midwives are bad, but the ones who are careless, who don't do enough for the patient, maybe, you know, they might be watching this video, maybe they can take the job a bit more serious and be more caring and do the job better. If you don't like your job, and if you don't like your job, and especially if you have a job where it requires emotionally attention for your patient, you need to basically be emotionally there for your patient, and you know, it requires a lot of attention for your patient, for your client, just don't do that job. If you're not happy, just don't. Me personally, I think, yeah, a lot of these midwives, they're human, they're like us basically. When they go home and they finish the shift, they might have a bad day, I don't know, they might go through anything. Maybe sometimes they bring that energy back to the hospital, and you know, back to the patient, you know. And I don't really think that's fair enough personally, because sometimes you could get angry midwife. When you're going into labor, your anxiety level could be very high. I don't know if that's everyone, but me personally, I always suffer from anxiety. So when I was going to the hospital and I was in labor, my anxiety level was like from 0 to like 100. I don't even know why that happened, but my heart was beating. Even though I've given birth before and this is my second child, every child, every labor, every pregnancy is different. It's not the same. You understand? When you're giving birth, it feels like you're doing it all over again. You tend to forget the experience you've had with the first pregnancy or the second pregnancy. So let me just check. And by the way, I've written down notes when I was going through all this because I did not want to miss one thing. I want to show you guys exactly what I'm going through and exactly what happened. As you guys can see, I done this note around 17th of December and I gave birth to my child the 1st of December. So when I went into labor, I was 41 weeks pregnant. So I was basically overdue. A full-term pregnancy is 40 weeks. I was 41 weeks and I think 5 days. I was almost 42 weeks. I basically had a C-section with my first child. So I basically decided not to have a C-section for my second child. And to be honest, I don't want to share my labor story with the first child because it's just long. I just felt so disappointed. I can't explain this. I just really want to talk about this labor experience. Anyway, when I went into labor, my anxiety was already like very high, like I said, and all that, right? 3 days before my contractions happen, when you're overdue, they like to book an appointment for you. You have to call in like 6 in the morning, I believe, and then you have to call the hospital, and then they're gonna book an appointment for you, and then you have to come in, and then they're gonna induce you. That's basically what's gonna happen. Okay, sorry guys, if you see anything different, it's because I had to quickly run and feed my daughter. But anyways, let me just continue the video. The day before I was supposed to go for my induction, I was like, fuck that. I quickly need to do something about that. Getting induced is very painful, let's just say that. Even though contractions is painful, but I prefer natural contractions than getting induced, because inducing is like you're forcing it. So I was like, okay, cool, let me just try to do anything that I could possibly do. So I was basically running up the stairs, like up and down, up and down. I was running all around the house. I was sitting on the maternity ball. I took a hot bath. I was eating a lot of spicy food. I was just basically doing the most. And I was also going for like long ass walks. My plan was to not get induced and to have like a natural labor, because I wanted to try the natural way, because, you know, as I said to you guys before, I had a C-section with my first child. And then literally 3 hours later, I started feeling a bit weird. I started feeling like I had to go to the toilet a lot, and I was like, what is this? But then usually, you know, when the baby's about to come, you do tend to go to the toilet a lot. The baby's head is pressing into your bladder. So then I just saw myself going in and out the toilet, in and out the toilet, literally every second. And I was like, what is that? I was like, this is so weird. But then didn't think anything of it. Let's say every 10 to 20 minutes, I felt weird. I felt like a sharp pain. And I was like, is this contractions? I wasn't too sure. Then I called one of my friends. Shout out to her. She's so sweet because she had a lot of experience. So I was like to her, like, what's going on? I'm feeling a little bit painful, I'm not too sure. And my friend was like to me, actually, do you know what? You are actually having contractions. So you should start timing them. And then she showed me this app. I started timing my contractions. It was getting strong. When it's getting stronger, the timing gets very close as well. So I was getting them, let's say, every 5-10 minutes. Every 5-10 minutes I was feeling contractions. I was feeling pain. And then I was like, fuck this. I was like, yeah, I think it's time to go to hospital now. It's like people say, oh, I'm having contractions, I'm feeling a little bit pain, but I'm not too sure, and they're still chilling. But no, when you're having contractions, like, you know when it's the real deal. So then I called my husband. I was like, listen, I think I am about to have the baby tonight. And he's like, are you sure? He didn't even ask a lot of questions because he knew that I was overdue, and he knew I was doing a lot to induce myself anyway, you know, the natural way. It's just funny, I was supposed to get induced the day after, but I decided to induce myself naturally the night before. So whatever I was doing did somehow worked. So I called my husband, and he was like, yep, the baby's gonna come, because he saw the way I looked and the way I was acting. I might put a clip in, and then you guys can have a look.
Like the most, like, babe, get off my butt. I told you about that. Don't play with me like, dude, don't touch me in my butt like that, bro. I told you, don't do that to me, bro. You gonna choke me out?
That's just basically me laying down on my maternity ball, timing everything. I already had like my hospital bag, everything packed, everything ready to go. So boom, all I had to do was put my trainers on. So I just put my hat on, my jacket, my shoes, and I was ready to go. On my way to the hospital, I was in the car, I was feeling a lot of pain. So when you're having contractions, I don't know if you guys can relate to me, but it's like you can't really sit in the car properly. After that, we got to the hospital, and then when you get to the hospital, you know, there's a midwife at the reception, and she was like, oh, are you sure like you're having contractions? They like to do an exam just before, you know, they take you to the hospital, because sometimes you might have like false alarm. So then she was like, oh, you know, do you want to do a urine test? I was like, it's not one of those times. I don't need to do a urine test. I'm having contractions, I'm in labor, this is painful. I know, like, I'm basically dilating. It's really important, girls, to bring your hospital folder. So I just gave that to her, and she just basically had a look, and she just basically knew everything and all my history. She's like, actually, you're supposed to come in tomorrow for introduction. And I was like, yeah, I'll basically do this myself at home. So anyway, before they give you a room, they like to take you to like a room where it's like an open bay, where there's like other patient in there. They like to take you to that room if you're like in early labor. I don't know why, but they just like to keep you in there. So I was in there, and I was in a lot of pain. I couldn't sit properly. I was just sitting up, I was walking around, and then the midwife came, and then she gave me the gassinet, and she's like, I'll just use that till I prepare your room for you. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And then my anxiety level was literally going up. I was feeling pain, but my pain wasn't even that extreme or that deep, to be honest. Sometimes the anxiety could just literally F you over. So my anxiety level just going up, boom, 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 boom. I've already been through labor before. Am I gonna get a C-section again? Am I gonna go through the same thing? So I was just basically thinking really negative. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, if I could give you guys advice, if you guys are pregnant right now, just don't think negative, because if you think negative, you're gonna end up having a negative experience. Because I was just so negative, like, I'm not even gonna lie, and I don't even know why I was that negative. But anyways, my anxiety level just going up, and then the midwife comes, and then she checked me, and then when she checked me, she was like, actually, you know, you're in active labor, you're dilating. So I was like 3 to 4 centimeters. So imagine I was at 3 to 4 centimeters with no epidural and nothing at that time. They only gave me like the gassinet, and then I was just like, oh my god, I'm dilating. So then my contraction was coming literally every minute, every second. So I was like, alhamdulillah. Then the woman was like to me, so what do you want to do from here? And then I was like, oh, like an idiot. Imagine, guys, guess what I said? Like an idiot. I was like, yeah, just give me the epidural. Just give me the epidural. Why do I need to take the epidural when I'm not even 7 or 8 centimeters? I didn't want to feel anything. Can you imagine? Anyways, and I was kind of unexperienced because I don't really know much about epidural, so I should have done my research, but I didn't. So this midwife, instead of being a good midwife, take epidural, but I've done my research online. It said it's not good for you to take your epidural when you're 3 to 4 centimeters. I just put like a little note right next to the video, because if you take your epidural when you're 3 to 4 centimeters, you're most likely to have a C-section. But I didn't know that, because it's better to take your epidural when you like at least, let's say, 8 or 9 centimeters or 10. Like when you're literally about to push, that's the best time to take your epidural. That's when it's most likely to work. Even the time that I was giving birth, it was literally like the worst time, because we were on a lockdown. I don't have my mom there, I don't have my family there. All I had was my husband there, and you can't even bring your partner there unless you're like in proper active labor. Do you know what I mean? Because even when I was asking for the epidural, he wasn't next to me. I was literally on my own. Then they took me to my private room. Then the woman was like, yeah, okay, so what do you want to do? And I'm gonna bring the doctor, she's gonna give me the epidural. Legally, the midwife, if you ask for the epidural, they can't say no to you, but she could have at least said like, oh, you're 3 centimeters or 4 centimeters, you know, you should have waited a bit before you take the epidural. So she didn't even give me the right advice or good opinion. All they like to do is they quickly just rush you out, rush you for C-section. It just makes the job easier. It's like, boom, you know, you give birth, you have a C-section, just get out. Like, they just can't wait to get rid of you, because think about how many women comes to the hospital screaming in labor. It's just too much for them, and I could tell they find it really irritating. And if it's so irritating, like I said, go get another job. If you don't like your job, don't work for the NHS. Like, literally don't, because at the end of the day, everyone got different personalities, everyone could be in different mood, everyone is different, you know. You don't know how a woman's gonna act when she's labor. Ugh, anyways, I don't want to go off topic. Back to the story. The doctor came, she gave me the epidural. When she gave me the epidural, guys, I literally could not feel no contraction. I couldn't feel anything. They literally numbed my whole body. And that was the first time ever me taking epidural. So I was just like, obviously I had epidural when I had C-section with my first child, but that experience was different because I had to take the epidural because I was having a surgery. But then this one is like, I had the epidural while I was in labor. The feeling was a bit weird. I couldn't feel anything, and I was just like, oh my god, is this how epidural feels like? Oh my god, I can't feel anything. I was so shocked. Literally, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I could not feel anything. My whole body was numb. I couldn't even go to the toilet. They gave me that thing. It's like a urine thing where they put it inside your bladder and the urine just comes out you, so you don't actually have to get up and go to the toilet. You can't walk. But anyway, I had that, and this is where everything went left. Because before, everything was going so good. Soon I took the epidural, I was not dilating any longer, and I was quite disappointed with myself. Why did I ask for the epidural? Why? And I was kind of blaming myself, and I was thinking, oh my god, if I had my mom there or someone there, maybe they would have pushed me not to take or give me good advice, but I had no one there. So I took my epidural, and then I couldn't feel anything, and I stopped dilating, and then they kept on coming every 4 to 5 hours, and the one was like, oh, you're not really dilating, and I was really upset, crying, emotional, really sad. I was like, no, I really want to try the natural way. Like, I don't want to go through another C-section again, because obviously I have another child that I need to take care of, and then when you have a surgery, it's really hard taking care of your newborn and your other child when you just had a C-section, because the pain, I can't explain, it's just so hard. And then I went into labor, let's say 12 midnight, and then I was in labor literally the whole day to literally 2 to 3 o'clock. And then I was just like, oh my god, I can't do this no more. And the worst thing is, I couldn't even sleep, because you know when you labor, you could literally not sleep. So I was up the whole day. The doctor came, there was like 3-4 doctors. They're like, listen, we need to rush you for the C-section. You're going to have your C-section. And I'm like, no. I was refusing. I don't want it. She's like, well, you need to, and you know, you've had a C-section before. We don't want anything to happen to you. And I was just really sad. They took me to the theatre. Then I had my C-section. I wasn't planning on having a surgery. Apparently you're not supposed to eat before you have your C-section, and these midwives here are actually telling me to eat, giving me drinks, everything. It's like, if you knew I was gonna have a C-section, why are you letting me eat? Like, anyways, it just didn't make sense. Then I went to the theatre, I had my C-section, and when I was going through the surgery, guys, can you imagine? I could literally feel some of the pain. My body was even fully numb. I could feel the tucking. It was just weird. When I had my first C-section, I didn't feel nothing, and my whole body was numb. But with this C-section, I just felt like the tucking, the pulling. It was just so scary. Literally, when I was going through the C-section, like, I was crying. So imagine they're talking to me, they're trying to distract me, and I'm just crying. And I think I was being very emotional as well. Imagine if something happens to me. I didn't even have my family there. It was just really like a learning experience. Even though I had my husband there, it was just wasn't the same. The doctor who was doing my C-section, she was actually quite lovely. She was trying to distract me. She was like, don't cry, wiping my tears. She's like, everything's gonna be fine, you're gonna be okay. Then alhamdulillah, the C-section was successful, and then when the C-section was successful, then they took me to the recovery room, right? I think I'm gonna insert actually a clip in here as well. I might show you guys when I was in theatre. I'm gonna show like a little clip. Just have a look.
Oh yeah, Aina. Oh yeah. Malia.
They brought my baby to me, and then it was just really emotional. I just can't explain that feeling, that experience, like when you're holding your newborn. I don't know, it's just so amazing, do you know what I mean? So I was just so in love with her. I was holding her, bonding with her. I wasn't even that much in pain. I was starting to feel a bit pain because I'm coming off my medication, right? And this one, everything went left. I got a midwife that's on training. Why am I getting a midwife that's doing training? And why can I not get a fully qualified midwife? So I got a midwife that's on training. Then all the doctors went. I don't know where they went, but they all went. I was by myself in the room. I told my husband to go home to get my charger because I left my charger at home, and he went out to get me some food, right? When your husband goes, shouldn't you have at least one midwife or someone next to you because you just had a C-section? Well, guess what? I had no one next to me. My midwife went. I don't know what she was doing, but she was gone for at least a good half an hour, and this one, everything went left, right? So I'm in there, I'm holding my baby. I'm in a lot of pain. I just had a C-section. I can't move. I can't get up. I can't do anything. You know that thing when you press like the alarm thing, like the button? It was literally far away. I'm literally holding the baby. I'm crying, and I can't even shout a lot because I feel like every time I shout, I'm just scared to tear up my scar. So I just kept on like screaming, not screaming, but shouting like, someone please, please, help, help. So I was in there trying to call for help. I'm screaming, but I'm not screaming loud. I'm crying, I'm holding the baby, like I can't put the baby down. I can't call my husband or anyone, my family, because my phone is dead. The alarm thing is far away. The midwife is not there. I'm sitting here, I'm in a lot of pain. I need my medication. 30 minutes later, the midwife walks in. She's like, hey, you alright? And I was like, where were you? I'm sitting there crying. I was like, where were you? I was in a lot of pain. This midwife, she doesn't even care. She was just on her computer. Sorry, I was just doing some paperwork. I was like, what do you mean you were doing paperwork? The baby was on my lap. I couldn't put her down. She was crying. Where were you? Obviously, she doesn't know anything. She doesn't have experience because she's a trained midwife, right? They like to give us black women the shit midwife. That's just basically what I believe. So that happened, right? This midwife, because she's a trained midwife, guess what this woman says? Oh, sorry, I can't give you the medication. I'm like, why? Oh, because the doctors forgot to sign it off. So I just had a major surgery and you forgot to get my medication signed off. I was like, I need my medication now. I was like, I'm in a lot of pain. I can feel the pain. I was screaming my eyes. I was crying. She does not care. And then after they forgot to sign it off, I didn't get my medication on time. When you have a surgery, you're supposed to take your medication, I believe, every 4 hours. How you don't feel that much pain. You're obviously going to feel some kind of pain, but you're not going to feel that much pain if you do take your medication on time. And that's obviously her job to provide that, but they didn't. Then after that happened, they gave me IV drip. So I'm going to insert a picture you guys can see. Okay, so when I was in labor, the IV drip went wrong once. And then when I came out my surgery, it went wrong like 2-3 times. So imagine guys, that my whole arm is swollen, it's full of fluid. Because when you get in the drip, right, they're supposed to put fluid in there just to check if everything's going through properly into your veins. They didn't do no check. They just kept on putting fluid after fluid. They didn't care. So basically, like my arm, I don't have that much veins, so it's kind of hard to find the right vein on my arm. This is the midwife. All right, I'm just gonna call the doctor to come and check for you. Imagine this doctor comes in and does the fluid thing. Who looks for a vein right here? Can you find a vein right here? I swear when you do the vein thing, you're supposed to put it right there. He tried to look for a vein right there. And then he sprayed it because he tried to look for my vein. He was just so careless. I can't explain. I felt like my body was being abused. And I'll show you guys the pictures. He was like, oh, sorry, I can't find the vein. Another doctor's gonna come. Why is my arm so bruised? I was like, you know what? I don't even want the IV drip no more because you guys are really messing up my arms. They're like, oh, it's not a big deal. All they do is apologize and apologize, right? And they ruined my IV drip 3 times. My arm was bruised, everything. I could have basically lost my whole arm, okay? They didn't care. Then they gave me like my hospital room, and then the woman comes in like literally the next day. She tries to take the urine bladder thing out. When you have a surgery, you're supposed to pass your urine. They weren't giving me like my medication on time, and because I wasn't getting my medication on time, and it's like, how can you take it out when I didn't even get my painkillers, my medication? I'm basically feeling a lot of pain. Even when she was taking it out so aggressively, like trying to pull it out, and I was like, whoa. When I was telling her I'm in pain, they don't care, feel very neglected. It's like they don't care, literally they don't care what you have to say. She comes out, takes that very aggressively, and then after that I was crying. I was like, oh my god, I'm not passing my urine. And then she was just like, oh well, you need to. I was like, how? Like, I'm in a lot of pain. You didn't give me the one medication at the time, so how are you expecting me to pass my urine? Like, how? The woman, like I said, she put the IV drip back in my arm again. She didn't do it properly, so then my arm got swollen again. I told you guys how it happened 3 times. One, I was in labor room, and the second time when I just came out my surgery, and the third time was when I was recovering. Then the woman again, when she was doing the fluid thing, the IV drip, so then she just put the fluid inside, because I think I was supposed to take my antibiotics or something. They gave me antibiotics. She didn't do it properly, then my arm got swollen. So literally my arm is swollen. Like, when I say it was swollen, it was so swollen. I was screaming. I was like, what the hell? Like, take it out, take it out. The nurse, she's running. She's like, oh my god, I don't know how to take it out. So if you don't know how to take the IV drip out, then how do you know how to put the fluid inside? It doesn't make sense. again, it just looks like you haven't done enough training. Why are they giving me all these midwife nurses who hasn't fully passed their test? I felt like I was getting all these nurses and midwives who was on their training that day. It's like, don't train in my body. So then anyways, I was like, take it out. She didn't take it out. Then I was pressing the belt. Oh my god, my arm. I was in a lot of pain. The midwife that was in charge that day, she ran through, and then when she ran through, she was just like, yeah, I'm in charge. Why are you screaming? Why are you shouting? I was like, first of all, I'm screaming and shouting because I'm in a lot of pain. And then she was like, well, you can't speak like that, you can't be shouting. If you shout one more time, I'm gonna have you go home. And I was like, what? You're gonna send me home? And she's like, yeah. So I'm here telling her how I feel. This woman did not care what I was going through, what happened. She didn't care about anything. All she cared about was, if you shout and scream one more time, you're gonna get sent out. Anyways, the woman was like to me, I don't care, I'm gonna have you out. I said, excuse me, you're not gonna have anyone out. Do you understand that? Make it seem like I'm this angry black woman. I'm gonna call the security on you. What kind of midwife says I'm gonna call the security on a woman who just had a baby, who just went through a whole C-section, on the security? I was like to her, listen, I dare you. I said, I dare you, please go out and go call that security and let's see what happens. She literally looked at me and she didn't do nothing. Then she's like, okay, anyways, lower down your tone. I was like, excuse me, you're not in charge of me. I don't know who you're in charge of. And I was like, to be honest, I was like, I feel quite threatened by you, because I felt like she was standing in my room staring at me. Listen, I feel quite intimidated. Can you please leave? She's standing there. No, I'm not gonna leave. I just said, I feel quite intimidated. Can you please leave? When I said it the third time, that's when she left. I just couldn't believe what was happening. Then I called my mom, quite upset. I told them what happened. They were like, what the fuck was going on? They're just trying to abuse you even more now because you're on your own. They just want to walk all over you. And when she said the security thing, I just couldn't really believe it. Then anyways, then the next day, another midwife came that was in charge. I told her what happened, and when I was telling her, I was quite emotional. I was crying. And then she looked at me, because you know all these midwives, they like to support each other. They like on each other's team. So it's like, you can't really trust them. If you want to make a complaint, you need to take it to the HR, like you need to take it to the head department. These midwives, let me tell you something, there's no point of telling them because they all support each other anyway. This midwife was like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. You're maybe going through a postpartum depression. Excuse me, how are you diagnosing me with postpartum depression? Are you a doctor? How am I going through a postpartum depression when I've only been in the hospital for 2 days? I was like, no. I know you can't have a postpartum depression literally in 2 days. It takes a couple of weeks for it to show. So I'm telling you how I feel. I'm sitting here emotional, upset, crying, and you're diagnosing me with postpartum depression. She's basically trying to say like, oh, don't make a complaint. You're not in the right headspace right now. If you're gonna make a complaint like after like a month. And I was just like, wow, these women don't actually really care. Because I was in so much pain and they didn't give me my medication on time. My temperature was like really high. When you're there, they check your blood pressure and your temperature every few hours basically. So then this nurse came, she checked me and she's like, oh my god, your temperature is quite high. Obviously it is quite high because I haven't been taking my antibiotics, I haven't been taking my medication, and I've been screaming all day, crying all day. My temperature is going to be high. Then after that, yeah, they literally rushed me out of the open bay room. They took me to a private room. They gave me like my own room, and then when they gave me my own room, they called a doctor. Like I think there's like 2 other doctors came, and then one of the doctors who came, actually, she was actually very nice. She was up to me, oh, tell me what happened. Where do you feel the pain? You know, your temperature is quite high. And I was telling her a lot of pain like on my left side. I think that's what maybe most of the tucking and the pulling was happening. She's like, I'm gonna give you a medication that's a bit stronger. And then I told her what happened to me. I showed her my arm, like it was all bruised, everything. She just apologized, and I was like, listen, you don't need to apologize, like you haven't done anything. And she's like, anyways, if you want to make a complaint when you're ready to make a complaint. And then when she gave me the medication and in my own room, then I was just happy. And when I took the medication, I felt a bit better. And I think I was only there for 3 days. And then after 3 days, then the midwife comes, quickly trying to charge me out of the hospital. You need to go in, we need the room. I don't even appreciate like the fact they like to rush you out the rooms. I was just like, yep, I'm gonna make a complaint. Basically, when you go home, you have this midwife, community midwife, that come to your house to check the baby's weight and stuff. And I told them my experience, what happened, and then they were like, wow, I can't believe that happened to you. And then the other one was like, well, I'm not that surprised because I work in that hospital. A lot of black women like you have been abused there. I'm sick and tired of always a black woman getting abused in that award, because apparently the award that I got abused at was the Victoria Award. I was quite happy the fact they understood where I was coming from, my pain, and love the fact they didn't brush me off. They were listening, and they were like, listen, if that's how you feel, go through with it, make your complaint, take your time with it, and make sure you write a good report. They even said to me, if you want me to help you with the report, we will help you, which I really appreciate. And I just wanted to share my story with you guys. And if you guys ever go to the hospital to give birth, make sure you guys have your family, your loved ones with you, because you need all the support. Because sometimes you think you can actually trust the midwife or the doctors, but you can't actually always trust them. That's what you guys need to understand. Just because you're a doctor, you're a midwife, does not mean, oh my god, they're here to save your life or they're here to save the day. So just sometimes, just make sure that when you go in, you're going with the right people and you have the right support system. And that's about it. I just want to share my story. Now I'm kind of over it, but the damage is still there, and you're always gonna remember it, and it's always gonna be there. Do you know what I mean, guys? So I just want to share my story with you guys, and that's it. And now I feel better, and like I'm not that depressed anymore. But I think the experience and the trauma that I went through, it can make someone really depressed. But thank God that didn't make me depressed, because I tried to stay positive, and I was like, I'm not gonna let one woman and one experience literally take away my bonding time with my child and take away, you know, this moment. Because at the end of the day, when you give birth, you guys need to remember it is a special moment. I'm gonna deal with her afterwards, and now I'm actually dealing with her, even though I don't know what they're gonna do about the complaint. But I don't want any other woman to go through what I went through, neglecting me, my pain, my medication. It was just a lot going on. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys like, comment and subscribe. But anyways, that's all I want to say. I'll see you guys soon on my next video. Bye.